I am going to stop this presentation and move on to Nathaniel's presentation. Nathaniel, in the meantime, if you want to turn on your camera and just say hello. Okay, so Nathaniel, when you are ready, feel free to start.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I hope you're still well since we physically met. I hope you are good, and everyone around you, and even in your CBOs, I hope you are still doing well. So yeah, thanks for the opportunity. I'm from Bathuseng Community Center, and then we'll talk about climate change, knowledge and experience as we are responding to climate change. Okay, let's go straight to the presentation. We can go to the next slide.
Sorry, there's a bit of a delay with my computer.
Okay.
But let's see. Yeah. Can you see it? The next slide?
Yes. Yeah, these are the projects and the campaigns which we are busy with it at Bathuseng Community Center, responding to climate change. We have these projects of tree planting, environmental cleanup, and permaculture trainings. We can go to the next slide. Okay, yeah, this is what the programs is all about, as it says, projects implemented. Tree planting, we held tree planting sessions at Mariko High School, where we educated 120 learners about the importance of trees, and we planted 18 trees, which 9 are fruit trees and 11 are indigenous trees. Remember, the tree is the best way to, it's one of the best ways to fight climate change. Council yard. And then we go to...
Sorry, Nathaniel, I think I missed you there. I'm not sure if it was my connection, but you said planting trees is one of the best ways to fight climate change, and then it cut for a little bit.
Okay, I said tree planting it's one of the best way to fight climate change, because we believe in trees there is a life, and then the tree also. I hope most of people knows that one. It helps in terms of soil aerations. So that is why we are planting trees, because we experienced that our people in our villages are busy cutting every tree they came across with it in terms of firewood, and then it is not good for the environment as well. So we are bringing back these things here, these things of tree planting as a program. Hence, I've said we held tree planting sessions at Madikwa High School, and also planted trees there. Am I audible?
You are audible, yes. Yeah, we heard about we heard, yeah.
Yeah, and then and the other project is cleanup, a project, environmental cleanup project, whereby we held a cleaning campaign, outlined the importance of recycling, reuse, keeping our community clean. Also explained the agroecology practice in terms of household waste. We also had a waste removal department in our district, at district municipality and local municipality at Mohalakwen, where we clean at the riverbank together and promise to provide tick bins. I believe from this one of environmental cleanups, we'll help more, or we'll hear more in terms of impacts on the other slides. And then we had opportunity to have a training of permaculture. So through RACR project, we had 5 days training, of which the first 3 days was between November and December. And then the last 2 days of training was on January this year of 2025. And then we were with 30 participants from Bathuseng Community Center, SYDC, Sanskrit Youth Development Center, and FLP, which is Future Leaders Projects. And then where participants learned the theory and practical work of permaculture. We can go to the next slides where we are going to talk about the impacts. Okay, these are the impacts in terms of tree planting. Learners are taking care of trees as planted in school and watering them and nurturing them to provide shade in future. After tree planting, other institutions such as clinics, not 1 but 2, policy clinics and the Mamasala Clinic and tribal authorities in our communities requested tree. And then the Department of Forestry contacted us to provide with list of institutions that needs trees. By referral from the municipality environmental affairs officers are the one who made us to be partnered with Department of Forestry in Polokwane, whereby are the ones who are contacted us to provide the list of institutions that needs trees. So that is it in terms of tree planting. That is the impact. And then in environmental cleanup, the local municipality delivered the tick bins as promised. Yeah, we are now having a tick bins from 2 villages. We are having the big ones as they promised. The community members are no longer dumping diapers and other waste in the riverbank, but in tick bins. After workshops, after 2 workshops of about climate change, this is where we community members learned not to dump anyway, and then instead, not dump anyway, but 2 tick bins provided by the municipality. And then the other point is develop a project of waste collection of household gates to tick bins, meaning there are participants who are busy collecting the waste from doors, from gates to tick bins. From Bathuseng Community Center, there are the PWP participants who are taking that waste to tick bins because some of the tick bins is far from other households members. And the other point is that household waste they use to make compost has been introduced to permaculture methods. So we are busy collecting that waste, especially the kitchen waste, to make a compost. And then the last one, under the environmental cleanup, it says tribal authority issues a policy document and a billboards of no dumping is allowed at various areas. We managed to talk with the chief indona and then we established the policy for the community members. And then we put the billboards in 3 places where people used to dump waste, and then it's written the dump is not allowed. The dump is not allowed, and then the fine is 500, 200, depending how much or how big the waste it is. And then we are coming back to, we're going back to permaculture training. So participants gain knowledge to make compost by using the green waste, the green waste material, dry waste material, wood ash, dry cow dung. So they've already done these ones. And then some of that compost is already being used in the farm, at the garden. And then the other point is that how to conserve water while planting crops. This is the learning from, this is the take from the permaculture training, and then how to collect the rainwater. As one of the plan is to buy the rain catchments, just to put it upon the, we've got a big 10, and then we plan to buy a catchments, a rain catchments in order for us to conserve water. We can go to another one. It talks about the effects.
Just heads up that you are in your last minute or so. So just
okay.
Time-wise, yeah.
Yeah, the heat waves, we experience a hot temperature that causes drought. Our river streams become dry as the mine, we are close to mine, as the mine close, the river flow, as they try to mitigate mine chemicals to flow to communities, which causes droughts. So we are not far with, to mine. The mine is close to us, and the river is closed, so the water is no longer flowing again. So the animals and us as people, we are no longer getting water from that river, and then it's a problem again. Heavy rainfall during December time, and there was a heavy rainfall mid-December where we lost 1,200 seedlings because of soil erosion and lack of greenhouses, of which we experienced much heat wave before the rain during the November, where the crops died, and we also lost cabbages due to rain fall again. I think that was the last slides, and then we can go to the last one. I think it's just the pictures to show people what we're busy with it. In the first one, there are youth who carries the trees, and then we were on the way to the school to plant those trees. And the other one, there are a participant making a compost during permaculture training. And the other one is cabbages. You see, it's dry, it's very hot. So these ones, we've never harvested them. And then the other one, it's butternut. At least we harvested them, and then it was good in terms of harvesting butternuts. Yeah, and then I thank you. The last slide says I thank you.
Thank you so much, Nathaniel.
Slides.
Yeah, sorry, maybe
Thank
it's
you.
a bit delayed. I think it should have moved, but I think sometimes there's a delay. Can you see it now? The last slide?
Yeah, I would say thank you. This is Bathuseng Community Center. Yeah. Thank you very much. And then these people you see on the pictures are the youth who participated in the permaculture trainings. Some are from future leaders SYDC, Sustainable Development, and some are from Bathuseng Community Center. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much,
there is
Nathaniel.
Lawrence there, the trainer. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing. And we are going to move on to our next speaker. We are going to have Sofila Mutsumi from Otsile Bokamoso speaking next. And then I think Nombuniso still hasn't managed to join. So yeah, we'll continue in the order that we discussed previously. And then Sofila, I'll give you a 5-minute mark when your 10 minutes is halfway through. And then also, if you have questions, please feel free to write them in the chat. If you have comments, please feel free to write them in the chat. We will be taking questions at the end of the session and having a more in-depth discussion. But for now, we just want to focus on the presentations. Okay, so Sofila, I am going to start sharing your presentation. Let me know when you can see it.
My video is closed. I can see it. Yes.
Yeah, is your, oh, okay, so if you would like to keep your video on, you can, but if your connection is going to be unstable, then it's up to you. Great, we can see you. Go ahead when you are ready.
Okay, can I go to the next slide, please? Good morning, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sofila Mutsumi from Otsile Bokamoso, and welcome to this important discussion on drought and scarcity of water. Today, we gather to address a crisis that affects us all, regardless of our backgrounds or geographical location. And on the side here, we have climate change effects on agriculture. Can you go to the next slide, please?
Sorry, there's a slight delay, but it is going through.
Okay, on the pictures, it's just an indication of how drought and scarcity of water is been affecting rural communities and my community as well. We travel very far to collect water, and here below is a picture showing how our crops looking like when there is drought. Okay, next slide. Okay, affected rural communities. When it comes to drought and scarcity of water, this is how we get affected as rural communities. Food insecurity. Drought can lead to food shortages, reduce access to nutrition food, and increase malnutrition. And the other one, migration and displacement. Severe drought can force rural households to migrate to urban areas or other regions in search of better living conditions. The next slide, please. Economic impact, loss of crops and livestock. Drought leads to crops failures, reduced yields and livestock, death, resulting in economic loss for farmers and herders. It also reduced income, decreased agricultural productivity, livestock and numbers leads to reduced income for rural households. And it also increases poverty. Prolonged drought can push rural households into poverty and economic vulnerabilities. Next slide. How drought and scarcity of water has been affecting my community. Who is able to do what in the silent emergency of drought and scarcity of water? In the pictures here, we see how we actually conserve water, actually rainwater. We water our plant with the conserving of water, the rainwater. The next slide. In our community, we involve community members in a climate change dialogue. We came up with ways on how to live in a resilience during climate challenges. The topics were conserving of water, reduce water usage, implement rainwater harvesting, collect and store rainwater for non-potable uses, use drought-resistant crops, plant crops that require less water and more resilience to drought, share knowledge and resources, exchange information and resources with neighbors to cope with drought. Next slide. Community changes. We implemented water-saving initiatives, organized community-wide water-saving initiatives such as fixing leaks and installing rain barriers. We promoted water-conserving education, educate community members on water-conserving techniques and benefits. What can other communities learn from our work? Number one, they can learn adaptation and resilience strategies. Community-led initiative empower our community to take ownership of drought management and water conserving efforts. Number two, water harvesting and storage. Implement water harvesting and storage system to supplement water supplies. Collaboration and partnership. Integrity and coordination. Foster collaboration among governments, agencies, NGOs, and community groups to address drought and water scarcity. The next. Are we done?
It's just delayed a little bit. Sorry. No. Yeah, there we go.
NGOs and international organizations provide humanitarian aid, offer emergency assistance such as food, water, and shelter during severe drought, support sustainable agriculture practices, promote and provide resources for climate resilient agriculture, implement water infrastructure projects, develop and maintain water storage facilities and irrigation system and other infrastructures, advocate for policy change, push policy that support drought resilience, water conserving, and sustainable agriculture. What have we learned as a community of Tshwaragana and Dalesville? We have learned water conserving method, learned about efficient irrigation system, rainwater harvesting, and water saving techniques. Technologies, yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Vila. That was great. Well done. Okay. Remember that you are able to put your questions in the chat. Thank you again, Sophila, for your presentation, and thank you, Nathaniel. It's great to hear from both of you. And now we are going to move. We've heard from Nathaniel in Limpopo, we've heard from Sophila in the Free State, and now we're going to move over to the Eastern Cape. So we are going to start off with Asipumze and Yamkela from Mount Frere Paralegal Advice Center. And let me just start with the sharing. Yamkela, are you with us?
Yes, we are.
Okay, great. Let me know once you can see your presentation.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay, whenever you are ready, you
All right.
you can start, yeah.
Good morning, colleagues. You're speaking to Yamgela Khasmeni. I'm here with Aspumze Lutuli. She's the YACC ambassador for the RACR project.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Aspumze, the Youth Ambassador of Climate Change. I'm from Manfred Paralegal IP Center. Thank you.
For this presentation, we are basically going to be sharing a few stories that we learned from participants or community members that we work with in Frere, in the Frere area. Now these conversations or interviews were basically based on different ages of the participants, starting from a very young age until an elderly age. Here on the first page, we basically have the background information of the town. As we can see, Frere is a very, very small town. I'm not sure if I will read out the information, but I'm sure you guys can see. But then just to add on this information that you guys can read on the title, Mount Frere is actually surrounded by 132 villages, and they all depend on one small town. So those 132 villages, they all face different climate change and weather patterns. So in the next slide, we are going to be looking at the basic challenges that our communities face in Mount Frere. Can we go to the next slide, please?
Sure. Sorry again. There we go. Yeah. Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
As we can see, we have two common climate challenges. We face hot and rainy summers and cold and dry winters. Now, I'm going to be explaining the winter side, and my colleague Aspums is going to be explaining the summer side. Yes, thank you very much. Now we are looking at the effects of changing climate and weather in our area. So now the table that we have below, it comes from different responses of people that we interview effects of the challenges. Now I'm not sure if you guys can read out properly, but then the individuals range from different ages. So all these responses come from those different age ranges, as I said before.
For summer effects, the crops may suffer due to high temperatures and flooding due to heavy rain. In summer, the rate of diseases and pests increases because of high temperatures and high rains. So livestock may suffer from heat stress and have the need for more water, and mortality may occur in some areas. In some cases, and mortality can be caused by flooding also, because when there is too much rain, the livestock can't survive properly. Economic impact, reduced income for supplies, and price fluctuation for customers. This is due to loss made by too much high temperatures and flooding due to heavy rains. The, the fewer the harvest, the less stock for supply, and the prices increase because of because of the sorry because of trying to cover the cost of the stock. The next slide.
Let me, before she moves on, let me speak about the winter effects. As we can see, it's basically the opposite of what happens in summer when we have the winter season. But then for us now, the winter season is not only cold, but it's also dry, and it's very frozen. So for crop stress and soil stress, many crops die and the soil becomes difficult to work because of it being dry, and in some cases it's frozen in the mornings, and in most cases it's very dry because of the lack of rain. So as we all know, plants struggle to survive in the climates, especially if the soil is not well prepared. Also, when it comes to livestock, our livestock is very vulnerable because the grazing lands for them, because you find that half of the time the grass that they usually eat is frozen, and they're unable to eat it, they're unable to graze on it. And most of the times there's felt fires. We have this belief, as farmers, they have this belief that if we burn this grass the following season, it's going to be greener than it was. So it's not a signed or proven belief, but it's just a belief that people have. So it reduces the grazing land for many for many livestock. Also, as Pumza did mention, the economic impact, it's very difficult because we do have reduced you do have a reduced income of crops that you do plant because of the struggling soil and struggling crops. So then if we have limited crops, then that means we have to sell them at a very high price. So that actually affects the people that do not plant, and affects the people on the ground. Yes, we can go to the next slide.
Okay. Inconsistent temperatures. Areas receive more heavy rain as compared to previous years, and the extreme high temperatures rises yearly. Thunderstorms also are so high, and they are destroying people's households and the gardens. General workers, many EPWP employees find it difficult to work during peak season. Sometimes this too much heat or too much rain causes it difficult for people to go outside and do their work. Schooling, many school children are affected by this season because many of them live far from the school. Some have to cross the river to go to school. When the rain is too much, it will be difficult for them to cross because of too much water in the river.
Yes, with the winter effects, we have the inconsistent temperatures. Some get extreme winter conditions, like the area that we interviewed, they get extreme winter conditions, like they have snow, whereas some experience an average temperatures, but it's in the same town, but some do experience average snow. Like in my area, we do not have snow, but in the area that we interviewed, they have snow. So it just goes to show that the climate in one area sometimes is not the same. So it has different effects on the crops and the farming style that the people do have. When it also comes to general workers, most general workers lose their jobs or during the winter season, because if you do, let's say, work at a communal garden, that maybe a communal garden that's supplied or funded by the municipality, then you half of the time you find that in winter there's nothing to do because the municipality says no, it's winter time, so you guys can't work, there's nothing to plant because of winter, so you end up losing your job as a general worker. Also, when it comes to schooling, you find that as my colleague did mention, some children live very far away from school. So it's in the morning, you have to get up, maybe you have to fetch water and plus minus for a distance maybe, and then you get there, the water's frozen, we have to walk to school, it's still cold, your feet are cold, so it affects their learning pattern or school attendance pattern. Can we go to the next slide? um the steps that we took to address these challenges, we're going to be looking at two actions that we took. We started off by climate change awareness and resilience education. As you can see in the pictures, we conducted awareness campaigns with topics that relate to what climate change is, how does it affect rural communities, and how do these communities protect or fight against it. Now, in the topics that we had in, no, it's okay. In the topics that we, yes, it's in the topics that we had in the awareness campaigns or interventions. We looked at topics that mitigation and adaptation strategies. We mostly enforced, or we mostly stressed the fact that the reforestation has to happen in rural areas, because we find that they say maybe it was 20 years ago or 30 years ago we used to have trees that were so and so, but then this company came along, they planted their trees, and you find that most of the time it's mostly alien trees. So we did enforce the fact that we have to we have to make reforestation happen. So as a small initiative, we did buy fruit trees for the communities that we work with, and those communities are now in the process of trying to start planting fruit trees and shade trees. We also did try to enforce the fact that we have to be energy efficient, or use less electricity, or alternative electricity as a mitigation strategy, and also ensure that soil management is something that is done on a daily basis or weekly basis as a communal garden, or maybe a family food garden. We can go to the next slide.
Okay. We are still looking at the steps taken to address challenges. We focused on educating the most vulnerable groups, who are women, youth, and school children. The education was based on why they are most vulnerable when it comes to climate change effects. How can they, as a group that has been identified as vulnerable, empowered, and involve themselves in fighting climate change? We educated them on the following: skill development, introducing them to employment opportunities like EPWP programs, formation of family and communal gardens, so that they cannot buy everything, so that they can at least grow the vegetables for themselves. Engaging with youth via social media, which is WhatsApp channels, encouraging the use of available natural resources such as cattle manure, poultry manure, grass mulching, and water harvesting.
Can we go to the next slide?
The next slide, please.
For the second initiative, we collaborated with stakeholders, with the Department of Agriculture. Obviously, the Department of Agriculture, we worked with them in terms of them organizing the communities, because when we get to their database, they have communities in their database. They say, okay, we have this certain community, they do have a project, but then it's been quiet for some time. So we engage with them, and then we go to that certain community. We ask, what's the problem? Why are they not continuing with their work? Then that's the duty for us and also the agriculture department to try to motivate that certain group or certain community into going back into farming again. We also have the Department of Health, collaborated with the Department of Health. Now, the duty of the Department of Health was there to, stress the situation, stress the fact that the use of these chemicals and pesticides, it does affect the health of community members. So if people do continue using these artificial pesticides and artificial methods for farming, it does affect their health. And so the department was there to assist the people in letting them know that organic is the best way to go. With with the NPOs that we collaborated with, it was a youth organization. The youth organization basically assisted us as the organization in gathering the youth. In most cases, it was mostly gathering the youth because they know how to interact with the youth. They have the strategies, and we have the resources to assist with those youth members. Also the Alfredo district municipality. The municipality at first, it was not quite well, but then eventually we did try to find our way around our differences, because they they still believe that climate change happens when only there's a disaster. But then we had to sit them down and let them know that climate change is something that occurs every day. So it's something we need to know about, Also, farming experts. We were assisted by Uguvuna, which is Mr. John Zira. Yes, they assisted us in training us about permaculture and organic farming. So basically, all these actions that we did, these 2 actions that we did, were there just to assist to create awareness on what climate change is and how does it affect their lives, and who are mostly vulnerable in terms of climate change and climate change effects. Thank you very much. Is there a next slide? Oh yeah. Oh yes. But then we just mentioned that we permaculture farming. The participants were trained. We trained plus, I think I'd say seven sites in total ever since the permaculture farming started. We were able to train those 7 sites. I think that's 40 or 47 participants who are properly trained in what permaculture is and how organic farming works. And so now we have feedback that they are now planting their own family gardens. They are now more interested in how community gardens can assist them and their communities as a whole. So we'd say we are still on the right track. As this was the last slide, as the Pums is just gonna add on how the project has assisted her and her community and other people in terms of helping a youth climate change ambassador.
As a youth ambassador for climate change, the program given me the opportunity to first draw the attention of my community members, the opportunity to listen and understand people's opinions about climate change, and be able to share what I've been taught in the 2 previous learning festivals I attended. So I can say being a YAC is the great opportunity for me, because I have learned so much, especially when it comes to a relationship between farming or agriculture and climate, the relationship between those farming and climate, and how to adapt on climate change and global warming as a farmer. So being a YAC helped me to introduce farming to my community, so that the young people can know that it is not for older people to do a farming. They can understand that we as young people can do a farming for ourselves and for our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That was our presentation as Mount Frere.
Thank you so much, Mkela and Asipumze. That was great. Well done. Again, everybody, please feel free to write your comments or questions in the chat. I think Nomboniso is with us. Nomboniso, if you are with us, can you unmute?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, amazing. So we're going to move on to your presentation. I will start sharing and you must just let me know once you can see the presentation. Nobuniso, can you see the presentation? You are muted, so I don't know if you are speaking.
Yes, I hear it.
Okay. So you are welcome to start when you are ready.
Okay. Now I'm ready, Claire. I can start because I'm on top of the mountain. I was running, taking network, but I'm fine. Hi to everybody. I'm sorry that I've done you late. I'm Nomboniso Kaya from Illegal Advice Center as a coordinator. I'm working with this climate change program, but although we do have a climate change coordinator who is Tembakazi Mtembo, but we are working hand in hand with her. First of all, my slides, I think I've got just 6 slides from my presentation. If you see the first one, is just my headings of my next slide. You can go through. Glenn. Yes. Thank you, Glenn. I mean Tara. Is Tara, ne? Is Tara
Yes, Tara.
okay?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Tara. My first slide here, it's a climate change impact. Ne? Here in Port St. John's, we have a flood impact that impacted to our community by causing widespread spread displacement due to damage of homes, destroying infrastructure like bridges, disrupting access to the families to essential services like schools. These floods causes that our schools became closed down, health facilities, you cannot go and collect your treatment, those who are in treatment, chronic treatment. Also, it impacting in local livelihood through damaging livestock and crops, as most of the people are depending on those livestock and crops, and living residents without clean water, as some of us we are depending on springs most of the times, although we do have taps, but we're depending on those springs now because of these floods. And the community affected to get clean water, because even the waterworks become damaged, often leading to insignificant economic hardship and a need for a temporary shelters for those who have, as you see my photos. If we were talking about floods in Port St. John's, it looks like that. It's our photo, that one, where people, you will find out they have to be removed because of the floods. Some lost their houses from that flooding. Can you give me the next slide? The next slide, yes. The challenging that causes by this pandemic floods, because it's continuous now that we're experiencing. It has caused the damage in infrastructure, as I saying before, homes and businesses. In terms of, when I'm saying businesses, even in the town area, all shops flooded in Port St. John's when we were experiencing heavy rains. So also businesses affected about that. It's the big challenge. Also, the people, they have to go and live with others because they don't have homes to stay. It also affects the entire landscape of Port St. John's, because Port St. John's is a mountainous area. Bridges were badly affected, making contact with the people that were working with the families, the communities itself. You cannot go to another village because of the bridge swept away. As you see here in this photo, one car fall here. The 4 people were in there, but fortunately, all of them were saved. Even the schools that when we experienced these floods, stopped everything like going to school because the transport cannot go as we are experiencing the beds, the poor service delivery, like access to this school, the road to go to those facilities is not good. So the transportation also it preventing people to do their course as usual. Also, we loss of human life, damage of property, destruction of crops, and loss of livestock. That's the big challenge that we experience from these floods as Port St. John's. The next slide. Out of these experiences from that we're experiencing here in Port St. John's, these floods are on the urban area, the rural town of Port St. John's, also some of rural areas. These floods are affecting those areas. So from all of this experience, we have learned that as LDA, the importance of early warnings, community engagement, and improved infrastructure. We know that this area is flooding, those community members that are staying there, they have to receive now and again updated about the weather conditions, also to engage communities, because most of the communities build houses in a wrong place, in top of drainages. So those drainages cannot be maintained or improved. And also what have been learned out of this is the need of the importance of improving infrastructure, because our municipality, the challenge that we are facing, it's infrastructure, the old system that you will see our street, the sewage is running, is working with us on the street. So if we can improve our system within the town, can assist us. Also, I've learned that communities need to be able to identify early signs of disaster, and government explain these warning signs, address weaknesses in the disaster management system. Our government need, especially local government, needs to address these weaknesses, to be proactive instead to react because of the incident that has happened. So I've learned that we need to do a lot within the Port St. John's area with the local government. Although this platform is not workable for us, we attended this meeting. We raised these things, but they promise and promise and promise and promise in this meeting to respond in these challenges. Also, what I've been learned is that in rural settlement, there are people who are vulnerable there. There is a high rate of unemployment, low income, and lack of alternative livelihood. So they just build houses with mud and trees, because they don't have something to income to build a genuine houses, also have income to live as the families. That's why they end up to build these houses that is being affected by the floods. Because after the flood, instead of building the RDP houses, they wait a long time to government to respond. Then you'll find out the one family split it into 3 or 2. Some they have to go and live there, some they have to go and live there. They end up to go back to the area, to the same area which is flooded, and use the same material of building house. So that's what my lessons from this thing is that if our government can respond positive, can assist our communities to address this issue of climate change, because it shows potentials. As from 2019 we're experiencing the same thing, but you cannot find anything that is new when it happened, and you will see only people taken to the halls and brown those gray blankets, small gray blankets, and food passes. After a week or 2 weeks, they forget about those people. That's my lesson out of this. In my conclusion, out of these floods caused by climate change here in Port St. John's, it led to a reduction in the productivity, because those people who are depending on food gardens, on small businesses, they lose everything out of floods. And on the other side, the prices increases, while we are experiencing this unemployment issue. I think 90 people of Port St. John's are depending on social grants. So this increase in price is affecting our communities. What we need in all of us here, we need to work together with government to address this climate change, because as Port St. John's LTA, we cannot work alone, especially in the case of flooding, because that thing needs resources to be addressed. It needs to be honest, because although there are so many people who are giving in Port St. John's, like other people who come with something to assist people, it's not a useful, or it is not giving us an impact to the communities. It's like we are working alone to address these issues. We are trying, as LDA, we are trying to sensitize our community members through our communal gardens, and to promote these permaculture practices, permaculture farming practices. And fortunately for us, our food communal gardens were trained on permaculture. Now they are practicing, but it's a drop in the ocean, because we only have only 6 gardens who benefited on that product. On those words, so I thank you. I think I make my time.
Thank you so much, Nomboniso. That was great. And yeah, thank you everybody for sharing up until now. It's all the presentations have been so interesting and really enlightening. I want to, before I ask a few questions, I want to hear from the audience if there are any questions to the presenters. So we've heard Nathaniel first talk about the different programs, tree planting programs, climate change awareness programs. Sophila talking about drought and water saving and conservation practices in her community. And then we heard from Mount Frere. We heard about the extensive kind of research work that they have done and sort of keeping a record on all of the different impacts that people are experiencing from climate change, both in summer and in winter, and then the different awareness programs and permaculture trainings that they did. And then we had this example from Nomboniso of the impact of an extreme climate change induced event like flooding, and what the knock-on effects are on the ground. So we've been we've had a really wide range of content shared with us, and it sometimes takes a bit of time to let it all sink in. But if anyone has a question, please feel free to unmute. And while we are waiting for the audience to come up with questions for our speakers, I want to pose to the speakers to just reflect on what you have learned from the other presentations in this session. So were there any things that you might like to try or apply in your context? I think we've had a number of different suggestions and ideas shared. So that would be my first question. And then my second question will be more about how your experience is of engaging with government. Nomboniso made this point around engaging with the local municipality. I think Yamkela also mentioned talking about engaging with Alfred Nzo district municipality. And I think it's important that we talk about this at the moment, given that the IDP engagements and participation events are all coming up now. So now is the time to actively engage with your local governments. So I think I heard someone mute themselves. Yolanda, did you have a question? I think it was Yolanda who unmuted. But if it wasn't Yolanda, then Yamkela, do you want to go first?
Yes. Well, what I'd like to reflect on first is the cleanup campaign that Wuput Nathaniel spoke about. I think it's a very great initiative, something that we should be looking into. So I also have a question for Wuput Nathaniel still. How did they get the other community members involved? Because some people, they're not interested in just J. They're always looking for something. But okay, I'm gonna clean up the community or the streets. What am I gonna get in return? So how did he and his organization, gather up those people? Because I'm asking this question. We actually do have a community. It's very close to town. It really needs that sort of initiative. So how did Uput Nathaniel come or engage with those communities? Also, my second question is for Sofila. How have they measured their success, or have they received any feedback, or have they seen any feedback from all the initiatives on all the activities that they have done as their organization throughout the project? Those are my questions. Thank you.
Nathaniel, do you want to respond first, and then Sofila can come in?
I didn't get the questions very clearly. It was cutting off. I don't know whether if Yamkela can repeat it or what.
Yamkela, can you repeat the question for Nathaniel?
Oh, okay. But Nathaniel, how did you get community members involved, or other community members involved into the cleanup campaign that you spoke about?
Okay, thank you, Yamkela. It was not easy. It was very challenging. But because in our CBO, we are having many participants from other projects. For community members, it was very simple because they are the ones who spread the message to the other fellow members in the community. and for engaging the government, local government. It was a challenge because people are in the offices, like I said yesterday, somewhere in Gauteng Center. People at the offices, they know nothing about the climate change. What is they have budget? And the other things that I've realized already, one of the things that causes other program, this program to go slow is a means of verifications, whereby we are being capacitated before without a finance. So I've realized, as we were discussing this yesterday, I've realized that we need a means of implementation, whereby you'll first need the finance and capacitate fellow members, and again go to technology transfer. But in terms of combining, or in terms of sharing the messages to the community members, it's a relationship with the chief donors. Maybe from our side is the relationship with the chief donors, and then other stakeholders around from the previous programs we were with it. So that was very simple in this way. But what I've learned from them is that most of these fellow members in our communities, they participated in terms of volunteering. So it was not a challenge by then, because they volunteered before, even if we can come with this program of climate change. So when you are calling them in numbers, they are coming. But the other thing is to campaign for ourselves, for yourselves, like what I did. We campaign for ourselves. PT, just that we are having the minds around. We go to them and ask a donation to do this kind of campaigns. So people, and then comes in numbers, but still in that numbers, we are still not satisfied. Thank you.
Thank you, Nathaniel. Sophila, do you want to come in response to the question from Yamkela?
Yes, yes. Thank you, Yamkela, for your questions. Before we became the part of this project of climate change, our community didn't know more about climate change, right? So when we introduced this project to them, and we did workshops, activities around our community regarding the things that I've actually presented today about scarcity of water and the drought that's been happening. It was more like an eye-opener to them, because they didn't know that this is actually climate change that we've been experiencing, because we've been experiencing these things for a very long time, the drought and the scarcity of water, and the heat wave is also part of it. Measuring our success is them coming to us and letting us know that what we did is actually helpful to them, and it was informative, and them doing those things, doing those practices in their homes, like the conserving of water, the storage of rainwater, and trying to live in resilience despite the challenge. I'm done.
Sorry, it broke up towards the end. You were saying living in resilience to the challenges.
Okay. Living in resilience despite of the climate challenges that we face in our community. Does it make sense?
Yes, yeah, it does. And then do you also want to share anything that you have learned from the other presentations, and what your thoughts are around engaging with local government. So, Sophia, if you are
Okay.
able to take that.
Yeah. Okay. I really want to say thank you to my fellow presenters today, because some of the things that was presented and me seeing their presentation, it actually municipal is not supportive.
The
Can you hear
connection
me?
the connection is breaking up. I'm not sure.
I don't know what's happening. The network is unstable.
Yeah, maybe.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, yeah.
So when it comes to municipality, in our community, these people, they're not, how can I say it? They're not supportive. So I would like to ask from my fellow presenters, how do they tackle that issue where they have to go and advocate? How do they go and
I think
emails?
Sorry, I'm losing you a bit, but I think if I'm gathering what you're saying, you're asking, maybe you can also write if I've missed what you've said in the chat, but I think what you're saying is how do you get how do you get in touch with them? How do you ensure that they come
how do you rightfully and respectfully hold them accountable? You know,
yes.
you know, and we do hold our municipal accountable, but it's the attitude that we get in such ways. Where do you go and reporting these people so that they can actually do their job and get accountable to the work that they need to do in our communities? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sophia. This also connects to Sizeka's question, which is in the chat, sort of echoing the challenges of the problems dealing with government institutions around climate change. And her suggestion is maybe inviting, or I guess asking whether inviting the mayor could be a possible solution. I think maybe Yamkela, do you want to come in, and then Nomboniso, you can come in response?
Can I come
okay.
in? Oh.
Or, okay, maybe Nomboniso, do you want to come in first, and then Yamkela, you can come in, because Nomboniso hasn't had it. So Nomboniso, you can respond first, and then Yamkela comes in after you.
Right. Well, for us, it's basic persistence. Well, first and foremost, our organization has been working with the local municipality, but for other projects and programs. So now, when it came to the climate change program, it was very difficult because it was something to them that's not practical. You know, it was something that's just on TV. Climate change. They only had the disaster management department. You know, they just said we have the disaster management department for that. So for us, how we worked our way around that, whenever we have an intervention, we invited the municipality, but then we noticed that each and every time there's no attendance or from a single person from the municipality or a delegate from the municipality. So it was up to us now to come up with a strategy, and the strategy was instead of asking them to come to us, why not go to them? You know, you spoke of respect. For us, we do respect them. Naturally, we have to respect them as human beings. But then when it comes to this sort of activist work, they know if they're not respecting us and the communities and the people that we have to work with, and the people that we work with, and the people that they work with. I think respect is something that we have to just look at it for on the side view, because now we are now attending the certain problem. For an example, I can give you, there's a woman who during the December floods and the rains, she lost her house. So now we attended the situation to the municipality. The response from municipality delegate was that the house was already going to fall anyway. So it's not the rain's fault, so that's out of respect. As you can see, that response is out of respect. So now it was up to us to enforce the fact that no, it's not about the house. It's not about the fact that the house was going to fall, but it's about the fact that the house is already it's already fallen down, because of the weather, because of the persistent rain and never ending rain. So just to cut the story short, we are now in the process of trying to get that lady not permanent, a prefab, I can say, prefab house, as a temporal solution for her problem. So for us, how it worked, you have to be persistent when it comes to municipality. You have to be persistent, because if you go there or wait for them to come to you, then you're gonna take a very long time. And also, what we also do is, if they invite maybe to a certain meeting that they're having, or certain gathering that they're having, we always try to make sure that we get a slot, maybe even if it's for 10 minutes. But we have to get a slot just to say, no, guys, we also have this thing that's climate change. Climate change, it affects people in this and that way, for example, we had this intervention that they had in the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. We somehow came up with the strategy to speak about GBV and align GBV with climate change. So just to get the idea of the municipality and the people that, guys, climate change is something that happens every day. It affects everybody. So that's how it worked for us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yamkela. Nathaniel, I see your hand, but first we're going to hand over to Nomboniso, and then I'll call you in. Okay, so Nomboniso, over to you.
Okay, Tara. In our side, working with municipality, it's not a problem as such, because we do have that thing of forum. We participated on that forum, and the challenge that we have now, you have this mayor, and you go there and present about your organization. After that, come new person, you have to play those games. Even you to I think now what we have to do first is to go to these offices. Even if it's MM, you have to make an appointment with MM and introduce you that there is this legal advice center or doing this and that, so that you can be part of IGR and IDP meetings, so that you can be in their list to be invited. So we participated on those IGR and IDP programs, but those meetings, it's fruitless for us, because we put the things in these IDPs and its budget, but when it comes, you have to implement it. They diverted the funds to another thing. So that's the big challenge, that in this meeting we agree on this, but in terms of implementation, it's not like that. As the other side, you have to have a person from the mayor's office, SPU, special program officer. That person is the person you are supposed to work with as NGOs, as in the private sector, because the person, that office is attached with mayor's office. So in our side, in our event, we do everything with that officer. But in terms of climate change here in Port St. John's, there's no program, there's no clear program on it, although we do have the office, a climate change officer, but I think it take 4 to 6 months and leave the municipality. Now we don't have that officer. So there is no clear program on climate change. It's only the province. What I've noticed is that this program of climate change is in provincial level. They are coming down to train their municipalities, you see. But I think we need to be part of those sessions, because we have been invited once as Bothuseng Legal Advice Center. We didn't know what happened on that. We only raise these issues of climate change when there is a problem, or when we called by mayor through RACR to come up where is the strategy of climate change, which means each and every meeting we have to raise this, because as we are experiencing now and again, it's like that important.
Thank you, Nobuniso. I think you raised some very important points, and also this distinction between the mayor, who is politically elected and so changes more regularly, and the MM, which is the municipal manager, who is a bureaucrat. So they are in position for a longer period of time. And I think having the combination of engaging with both is important. So that's, I think it ties back to a point that some of you might remember Tokozile Madoko during the session at the last Learning Festival. She raised the importance of understanding our municipalities and what the different departments are within the municipalities, what the structure is within your municipality. Because if you know what that structure is, then you know which department to go to and who is responsible for what within the municipality. Then you know who it is worth engaging with or connecting with about your concerns. But again, yeah, so that's something that Nobuniso shared, then Yamkela shared the importance of persistence. Nathaniel, I see your hand. Do you want to come in?
Okay, yeah, I just want to talk about the approach to the municipality. I think if one of the things is referral, because you know people how they are, some of people how they are. What I did from my side, I didn't know anyone from municipality, and then I failed, but I used my strength, my relationship with other stakeholders, like the social worker. If we can go to the other one who knows them, it will be simple for you to have an appointment. It's not easy because some other people, they're just in the offices, but if you got a referral from someone they know, they're going to pay attention from your story. This is what I've done from my side, and now I'm having at least a better relationship with the municipalities officers, because I've been referred from Department of Social Development and Agriculture. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Nathaniel. Again, raising this point of knowing different leverage points and kind of networking, finding out who you can engage with to push your agenda a little bit more with engaging the municipality and those who have the power to actually assist you further. Sophia, you had your hand up a little bit earlier. Do you want to come in?
Yes, Tara, thank you. I just want to some clarity on this. I've heard that there is some local government or municipal who actually get climate change budget. I don't know how true this is, or can I get clarity on that? Because my community goes through a lot of issues when it comes to climate change, and my municipality have done nothing in regard to that. So I don't know, is it true, or can I get some clarity on that one? Thank you.
So I can't give you direct clarity on that, but you know, each municipality has its own ability to decide in its IDP what its priorities are. So some municipalities will have climate change departments, but not all of them necessarily will. I don't know specifically for yours. Nomboniso, I see your hand. Do you want to respond to that, or is it on another point?
Yes, I want to try to respond.
Okay, please come in.
I think because I've heard our province, Eastern Cape, to say that these programs should be implemented to all municipalities. There is a budget, but the challenge is of our municipality is diverting of funds without consulting the affected people or the affected people from that budget, you know. But each municipality is supposed to have the climate change budget. Also the officer who is focusing on, because this is they said to us, it's a global, it's a national issue. Ne? It's a national issue that needs to be addressed by municipalities, that need to be appeared in their IDPs. Thank you.
Thank you, Nomboniso. I think this point around diverting of funds, it also points to another issue that we raised previously, which was that we need to be, it's not just enough to engage at the IDP development stage of things. We also need to be engaging while tracking the IDP as well. And this means that we have to be tracking how the finances are being spent. And you know, holding the municipality accountable, because we need to be, when they are diverting funds that they had committed to, you know, depending on the context of how they have diverted the funds, it can be it can be something that you can report. So it obviously is context dependent, but if we are tracking these things regularly, then we can also escalate the issue if it is something that has been done in that hasn't followed the proper process, the proper democratic process of how funds need to be allocated and used. So that's something that just to highlight the importance of also not just engaging at the IDP development stage, but also tracking how budgets are being spent by our municipalities, and then calling out the municipality when they are diverting funds in ways that they're not supposed to be. So we are actually over time, but this has been such an interesting and engaging conversation. So I want to just open up the floor for any more questions or comments from either the speakers or the audience, if anyone wants to come in.
Maybe Tara, I can come in because other presentations I didn't heard. Ne? If I can have recordings of this webinar, I'll be happy, because really I want to learn also from others.
Yes, so once this webinar has been uploaded onto YouTube, we will share the link again because this is being recorded. So the team will take the recording and upload it onto the YouTube channel, and then you can watch it again at a later stage. Just for those who might be wondering what Nathaniel and Musa were doing at this Presidential Climate Change Commission meeting that happened yesterday, there's this thing called the nationally determined contributions. And so now I'm kind of moving on to a slightly different topic, but I think it does link to the conversations we've been having here. And essentially the nationally determined contributions is South Africa as a whole needs to submit to this international body what South Africa wants to commit to in terms of contributing towards actions on climate change. And there was a consultation that happened in person that Nathaniel and Musa both attended. And I think there'll be another one that you can attend. Some of you attended online. There's another one that is focused on civil society that I think Claire is going to share the link for. But yeah, it's happening on Monday morning. Claire has just shared it in the chat. I think it's an important opportunity for us to be talking about these issues of climate change that we are experiencing in different rural parts of South Africa, because too often these perspectives don't make it into the big national conversation. And it's really important that your voices are there and your voices are heard. So I would recommend that you do try and attend and engage with questions and the like. But more than that, I have been thinking, and depending on the interest from all of you here, I've been thinking that maybe we can put together a contribution from all the different RACR participants based on the different experiences of climate change and how you're responding and what you feel is a fair contribution to the kind of global work of acting on climate change that South Africa can do. So that's something that you'll hear from me in the next coming weeks about maybe putting together something. And if you're interested in working more closely with me as well on this, please get in touch. I'll share more details in the WhatsApp group. And then a separate point that also is relevant, as you know, IDP, or maybe you don't know, but if you don't, then this serves as a reminder. The Integrated Development Plan kind of public participation process is coming up. This upcoming period is where your local municipality will be holding IDP participation sessions, public participation sessions, where they are proposing and discussing the next 5-year plan. And it's a really important opportunity for you to highlight how your service delivery concerns link to climate change, or more broadly, just what are your service delivery concerns. And so now is the time to be trying to find out where your IDP is, who holds it, when are the different participation meetings happening, to try and find that information so you can start to have these conversations with people in the municipality. And then hopefully we will also be able to hold a meeting, an IDP engagement meeting, for those of you who are interested in submitting your own comments, written comments to your municipality that link to your service delivery and climate change concerns. So I know this is a lot of information, and I haven't, you'll get it all in the WhatsApp group. I'll write it down so you can also read it. But that's just to highlight upcoming potential to engage government. So national government through the nationally determined contributions, local government through the integrated development plans. And maybe we need to also be talking about engaging provincial government, just like Nomboniso said about, the fact that provincial government has this, at least within the Eastern Cape, seems to have more of a focus on climate change than local government does. So I think I'll leave it there. And before you drop off, the drill, we'd like to turn on our cameras so that we can have a photograph of everyone. And I just really want to thank our presenters today, Yamkela, Asipumze, Sofila, Nathaniel, Nomboniso. Such a pleasure to have you presenting, and you all did a great job. No time issues, and all succinct and very important information that you shared. And we really appreciate the time that you took to work on this. Okay, so I don't know, Claire, are you going to, I'll just wait until a few more people have turned on their camera, but Claire, will you be taking a photo or shall I?
I mean, we can both take it.
Okay, your camera is still off.
Mine is still off. There we go. I was just putting it on gallery mode. And then
Oh, mine is mine on?
Your camera's on, yes.
Okay.
We can't see some people. I can see, it looks like Nathaniel's camera might be on, but there isn't a person there.
No, it is. I think the lighting is
just very dark. A shame. Okay, I can see his shirt. Okay, and shame.
Oh, you don't see me. You don't see me.
And it's very dark, unfortunately. And then if you choose not to put your camera on, that's okay. It'll just say your name. Wait, instead of your face. Okay, so you just need to keep smiling because you might be in more than one picture. So it's good to just keep smiling. Okay, 1, 2, 3, cheese. Okay, I'm going to do that again. There we go. I took 2. Tara, I don't know if you took any.
I just took both of the slides as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
you so much, everyone. It's also just really nice to see your faces because otherwise.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's just talking into the ether.
Yeah. And then just to say in the WhatsApp group, I'm going to share that link that I shared in this group for Monday's meeting. And there's going to be 3 links. The first link is to the website where you can just see more information. The second link is where you need to register to get the link for the meeting because everyone gets their own link. And then the third one is the data request link. And I'm going to do the data on Sunday evening. So probably at like 8 o'clock. So if you haven't sent your data request by 8 o'clock, then I won't be able to get that to you before the meeting.
And just a reminder, this is the Presidential Climate Change Commission meeting on the nationally determined contributions for South Africa to fight against climate change. The one that Nathaniel and Musa were at in person this week. So that's and this coming, the one on Monday is for civil society organizations. The previous one was for faith communities. So yeah. Great. Thank you, everyone. Again, big thank you to our presenters and well done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Connie.
Bye, everyone. See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, it's good.